A man does not wake one morning and find himself ruined. His ruin is not an explosion. It is a slow erosion, invisible at first, then undeniable when it is far too late. He begins as a warrior, sharp, disciplined, feared. But life has many traps, and if he is not vigilant, the traps consume him. What was once a fortress becomes hollow stone. What was once iron becomes dust. This is the journey of collapse. It is not the fall of kingdoms we study here. It is the fall of a man. At first he is focused, every step deliberate, every choice sharpened by purpose. But soon distractions whisper to him. Little things, harmless things. A wasted hour here, another there. He believes he can return at any moment. He believes his discipline is permanent. But each distraction chips away at his willpower. Look at the fall of Rome. The army stood strong, but senators and citizens drowned themselves in games and noise. Gladiators fought while emperors ignored their crumbling borders. Rome's ruins stand today as a warning. Men are not conquered by enemies first, but by distractions within. Modern men are no different. Hours vanish into meaningless consumption. Attention, once the sharpest weapon, is now dull and scattered. The warrior forgets his mission, and in forgetting, begins to rot. Comfort. Once he endured storms without complaint. His back was straight, his hunger a reminder that he was alive. But as time passed, he began to reach for softer things. A softer bed, softer food, softer routines. Comfort seduces in silence. It whispers that he has earned rest, that he deserves ease, and so he surrenders to warmth. But with each surrender, his edge disappears. The Spartans trained barefoot on stone, their lives a discipline of discomfort. Their enemies mocked their austerity, until they met them in battle and found unshakable men forged in hardship. When a man grows too soft, the world does not soften with it. The storms still come, the battles still rage, and the man who chose comfort will find himself broken when tested. Weak bonds. No man stands alone. His companions shape his rise or his fall. At first his circle is strong, built on trust, loyalty, and sacrifice. But over time, he replaces true brothers with empty companions. Men who cheer at feasts but vanish at war. Julius Caesar trusted Brutus. He believed loyalty ran deeper than politics. But when the knives came out in the Senate, even his closest ally became a traitor. Weak bonds are poison. A man surrounded by false friends is already vulnerable, already weakened. He may not feel the wound yet, but betrayal waits patiently. Soft morals. A man's code is his foundation. At first it is steel, rigid, unbreakable, but over time he compromises. Just once he bends, then again. And soon his code is no longer steel, but clay. He tells himself it is just this once. He tells himself it is for a good reason. But each bend breaks him further, until applause and approval replace honor and truth. History is littered with kings and rulers who betrayed their own codes for comfort, greed, or fear. They always believed they could hold power despite corruption. They always fell. When a man loses his morals, he loses himself, and without himself, he is nothing. Ignoring time, he tells himself he has tomorrow. Always tomorrow, he wastes days convinced that life will wait for him. But time does not wait. Every sunrise ignored is strength lost forever. Every delay steals a piece of his legacy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." But most men do not listen. They believe life is long until suddenly it is short. They believe they are immortal until the years have vanished. By the time they wake up, it is too late. False escapes. As the pain of neglect builds, he begins to drown it. Drink, indulgence, escapes that feel like freedom. But they are only new chains heavier than the old ones. The Vikings drank not to escape, but to celebrate. Their feasts were earned, not used to numb themselves, but modern men? They celebrate nothing, yet drink daily. They indulge not to honor victory, but to run from defeat. The man who escapes his pain each day is already conquered. His chains rattle louder with every night he flees. Cowardly silence. There comes a moment when he sees wrong, when truth burns within him. But he says nothing. He is afraid of the cost of truth, afraid of losing favor, status, or comfort. And so, rot spreads, not only around him, but within him. For silence is not neutral, silence is decay. Athens did not collapse from external invasion first. It collapsed because men feared the crowd more than dishonor. They let corruption spread, let cowards rule, let truth die. A man who will not speak when it matters has already fallen. Neglecting the body. His body, once a fortress, becomes neglected. He forgets that strength is the foundation of mind and spirit. Muscles weaken, breath shortens. His fortress crumbles brick by brick. The samurai trained both mind and body, knowing that weakness in one poisons the other. Modern men laugh at this. They call the body unimportant. They worship intellect while letting their frame rot. But the truth remains. A weak body cannot carry a strong soul. When the body falls, the mind follows, and soon the man collapses entirely. Fear of solitude. The forge of solitude is where men sharpen themselves, but he avoids it. He fills his life with noise, distractions, shallow conversations, endless company, never alone, never still. But solitude is the crucible of power. Every great general withdrew before battle to prepare, to command himself before commanding others. The man who fears being alone is not a man at all. He is a leaf in the wind, blown wherever others push him. Forgetting legacy. The final collapse, the deepest tragedy. He lives only for himself, no mission, no vision, no legacy. His days are spent chasing comfort, escaping pain, avoiding truth. And so when he dies, his name dies with him, forgotten in the dust. But those who built codes, carved roads, raised walls, their names echo through centuries. Alexander, Aurelius, Spartacus. Even when their bones rotted, their legacies remained. The man who forgets legacy is already dead before the grave claims him. Discipline outlasts desire. Desire burns bright, but it burns out. Discipline does not need fire. It endures through ash. A man who waits for motivation will rise only on rare mornings. But the man who builds discipline rises regardless of mood, regardless of weather. Empires were not carved by men who felt like working. They were carved by men who built when their hands ached, who marched when their legs screamed, who endured because the task demanded it, not because they were inspired. Do not trust desire. Desire is a guest. Discipline is a master. Death is the final teacher. Every unspoken rule bends toward this truth. You are running out of time. Death is not a shadow meant only to frighten. It is the greatest instructor. It reminds you to speak while you have breath, to act while your limbs obey you, to love while those you love still walk beside you. Forget death and you waste life. Remember death and you live sharper, straighter, stronger. When you feel hesitation, picture the grave. When you feel indulgence, picture the grave. When you feel fear, picture the grave. And then ask yourself, how do I wish to be remembered when the stone is carved? The final reflection. This is the journey of collapse, not in fire, not in sudden ruin, but in silence, distraction, and neglect. Most men never see it until it is too late. But you have seen it now. You know the poisons. You know the stages. Guard yourself or be hollow. Rise or fall. Every man will walk one of two paths, collapse or conquest. You cannot walk both. If you choose collapse, you will live in comfort but die forgotten. If you choose conquest, the path is harder. But your name will outlive you. The choice is yours. Rise or fall. If you are ready to rise, stay here. Subscribe, learn the rules, forge the armor, and join the brotherhood that refuses to collapse.